Hi, it's Mark Bunker from Xenu TV. I haven't talked to you in a long time, and it's because I didn't want to talk just for the sake of talking. I wanted to have something to talk about. Well, now I have a couple things to talk about. First, it is the 1-year anniversary of Project Scientology, and I just wanted to tell Anonymous that you have done an amazing job. There has been so much good material that you've generated this past year. You've informed a lot of the public, not just on the streets, but also on YouTube and on Vimeo and all over the net. Lots of things have popped up in WikiLeaks, some important documents and audio and video from within Scientology. It's been a banner year. I mean, Anonymous, you have slammed your name into the history books. As long as there's been Scientology, there's been criticism of Scientology, and you guys have really set records. I got to applaud you for that. Done a lot of really smart stuff, and you've done an occasional dopey thing too. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Pubes Kid. You know what I'm talking about. Listen, I understand you think, okay, this is going to be funny. But really, you're just getting yourself in trouble. It's not helping anybody. And, I don't mean to sound like Howard Stern's dad, but I do feel kind of like Ben Stern. Yeah, I told you not to be stupid, you moron. But there you go. I know that, the actions of any one Anonymous can taint the entire organization. And it's not really an organization, it's an amorphous mass of individuals with no leaders. I understand that. And I understand that, nobody has control over anybody else, and that there's factions within Anonymous. There are some people who really dislike the people who are taking to the streets and have something to say about Scientology fraud and abuse. I understand that. So when I say Anonymous, I know it's not everybody out there. I know a lot of you, don't even care to hear what I have to say, but I feel I have to say it anyway. For the most part, Anonymous, you folks with Project Scientology have really done an awesome job, and my hat's off to you. I think everyone is amazed by what you've achieved. Everyone, that is, except a supervisor in Riverside County. And this is one of the things that I really wanted to talk about today. As Riverside County has decided that they are going to shut down all protests of the Church of Scientology at Scientology's flagship headquarters near Hemet, their desert compound called Gold, where David Miscavige and the other, top leaders of Scientology roost. And there's apparently also a lot of Sea Org members who live out there too in different dwellings. And because of that, they are trying to portray Gold as a residence. And they are using Supervisor Jeff Stone as a tool to shut down protests of any residents. And this urgent need that Jeff Stone just brought before the county supervisors, the board of supervisors, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Stone, I think this was drafted by Scientology. It was certainly at their behest. You've admitted as such. You raced it into a vote because it was desperately needed to stop people from protesting at Scientology's headquarters. Now, this whole idea of making it sound like you can't protest any residents in Riverside County, well, I can understand how that sounds good. Who wants people protesting at your home? I don't think many people do. But let me ask you, Mr. Stone, in the whole of Riverside County, how many homes have been picketed? Really? Is this a major problem in Riverside County? Maybe it is. I don't know. I know of one person who's had their home picketed. I mean, there's more, but I know of one person, and that's me. Scientologists came to picket me back in 1999. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't run to my elected officials and say, I'm afraid for my life. You have to draft this ordinance to stop all protests everywhere within the county. because two people showed up at my home. You know what I did, Mr. Stone? You can watch it on the net. I grabbed my camera, I went outside, I had a polite, peaceful, calm conversation with the Scientologist who came to warn my neighbors about me. I put that video up on the web, and they never came back to my home. You know, there's one peaceful way to solve a problem like this. Not try to willy-nilly stop all protests. And you are being used, Mr. Stone. Make no mistake about it. Because this ordinance really is to protect the Church of Scientology. And I watched the meeting. I didn't have a chance to attend the meeting and speak. I wish I had. But I watched the meeting, and I watched as other supervisors asked before voting, are you sure that people are still going to be able to legally protest outside the gate at Gold Base? And you told them, oh, yeah, sure, yeah, no problem. And they voted to accept this ordinance to ban protests. Well, some brave picketers went back to Gold the next few days and tested it. And they were smart enough to bring along a reporter from the Los Angeles Times. And the LA Times showed that, no, Scientology doesn't want protesters out there. They immediately called the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's deputies came out and chased away the protesters because of your ordinance. And that made you withdraw this temporarily for 1 month as you mulled it over. Mr. Stone and the other supervisors, I really hope you seriously consider this, because you are being used by Scientology just to stop free speech. That's all. There's no danger to Scientologists there. There's certainly no disturbing of a residence. If a residence was being disturbed out there, if people were being disturbed in their birthing headquarters, it's because when protesters come now, Scientology blares that loud, scary, horror movie tone through their speakers. I don't know how anyone can get any peace with that blaring. But Scientology does that just to drown out the message that those protesters have, because they don't want anybody within inside to hear that message and possibly wake up and leave Scientology. They don't want people to have doubt implanted in their minds, because doubt is something that Scientology desperately tries to keep out of Sea Org members' minds. They have drills and various routines they use to stop your thought processes. So Scientology doesn't want that subverted. Anyway, I'm asking you as a representative of your people to do the right thing. Not for Scientology, but for all the residents and all the citizens of Riverside County. This past year was an anniversary of the Jonestown tragedy. Another public official, Congressman Leo J. Ryan, was approached by people who thought their loved ones were in a dangerous group, a destructive group, a religion, the people in the church called it. And he went to investigate. He went down to Guyana and met Jim Jones and met all the people there. And they put on a show. They had the little kids singing songs, and everyone was praising Jim Jones, and everyone looked happy and carefree. And Leo J. Ryan said, well, I came here to investigate, and what I'm seeing looks great. I mean, he gave a speech there. You can see it in many of the documentaries that were made about the tragedy. He talks about how, well, I'm going to go home and say, that this is perfectly fine. There's no problem. But as he was trying to leave, several of the frightened members in that organization came up to him and slipped him notes in his palm. Said, help us. We need to get out. We're trapped. And Leo J. Ryan said, all right, I'm going to take whoever wants to leave with me, and we're going to go home to the States now. And you know what happened after that? He was slaughtered. Congressman Ryan was murdered by Jim Jones and his followers. And then virtually everyone who was part of Jonestown committed suicide at the behest of Jim Jones. So, Supervisor, I'm sorry, I'm a little upset about this. Supervisor Stone, you may have seen the singing kids. You may have seen the fancy, pretty little show that Scientology has put on for you. You may have been wined and dined by Hollywood celebrities, Tom Cruise, John Travolta. You may say to yourself, I don't see anything wrong. Dig a little deeper. Because Supervisor Stone, there are people inside Gold who, if they could, would be slipping you a note saying, get us out of here. There are people who really, really need your help. And it's not David Miscavige. What you're doing is stopping free speech. You're talking about how America is a wonderful place because you can be a member of any religion you want. And while you're not a Scientologist, you love the fact that if you were to decide to be a Scientologist, you could. I agree with you. That is a great thing about America. There is freedom of religion, but there's also freedom of speech. And one doesn't trump the other. And let me just say that if you believe in something, it doesn't mean that you have the right to do anything you want. When Catholic priests sexually abuse young children, and the bishops move them from parish to parish, it's the protesters outside, the good Catholics and others who stood outside the Boston diocese and protested loudly, that made a difference. Their rights were important rights to protect. You can believe that Jesus palled around with dinosaurs. That's fine. If you want to believe the earth is 5 million years old, go ahead, believe it. You're not hurting anybody. But when you force public schools to teach that crap as science, people have a right to stand up and say, you know what? No. You have a church for that. Stop it. Speech is protected for a reason. You may believe, if I'd been in front of your podium to speak to you the other day, I would have said, Mr. Stone, you can worship this podium. You can bow down to this podium and consider it your God. But you can't say, because this podium is my God, you aren't allowed to speak in front of it. That's depriving somebody of free speech for your religious beliefs. And that is exactly what Scientology is asking you to do by stopping protests in front of Gold. All they want to do is shut down people's rights to say what you're doing is wrong. And what Scientology does is oftentimes very wrong. I'm not saying everything in Scientology is bad. I'm saying that there are things in Scientology that must change, that people have been trying to change for 50 years, that will change one way or another. But that way is going to come through peaceful means, through peaceful protests. Don't stop those protests. Anyway, I've gone over my 3-minute limit if I had been speaking before you, so I'll call it quits now. But I want you to consider this, because I know this vote is coming up again. You withdrew this ban from protesting for 1 month, and you're going to be considering it. I want you to consider it carefully. And I want everyone out there to contact Representative Stone, or Supervisor Stone, rather. Let your voice be heard, because free speech is very important, and it can change the world. Anonymous is changing the world. Keep it up, and until next time, I'll see you at Xenu TV.